Erev Tov, everyone. So this week's Parashat Mishpatim, the Ramban says that it starts with the laws of the monetary law because it actually corresponds to the Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments. So he says that the last of the Ten Commandments is Lo Tachmod, do not covet, do not be jealous. And so therefore he says that if a person does not know the laws of the monetary law, so then of course he's going to want what doesn't belong to him. And therefore the Torah outlines all the laws of what is allowed, what is yours halachically, what is not yours halachically. So I wanted to spend some time on this very important topic, very big topic, about how indeed does the Torah want us to deal with jealousy, and specifically chemda, meaning this ta'ava, this like a person wants and wants and wants, especially nowadays. Let's just face it, that people are very into into gashmiut. Our lifestyles is growing and growing, more materialism, more meat boards, and that there's no end to it, and so therefore, there's a tremendous pressure on people, even who are they're making a decent living, very decent living, and there's such tremendous pressure, and it gets into a lot of shalom bayit, and so therefore, besides making more money, we also have to work on ourselves and how to control that desire. How does the Torah view? What do I say to myself? What do I say when I just want? So the Torah says, no, you can't want. Lo tachmod, do not. Why not? What are you supposed to say? So I jotted down some notes. Everything that I'm saying is from the words of our Chachamim. Just give me 1 second. I hope it's here. Here it is. Okay. Before we continue with the Itzot, just to give an example, the Gemara in Tamid brings down Alexander the Great was once on a journey, and he reaches the gate of Gan Eden, and he knocks on the gate, he wants to come in, and they don't allow him to come in. He says only tzaddikim come through this gate. So he says that, okay, at least I'm a great king, so at least let me in to give me something, give me a souvenir. So they gave him an eye, and he thought it was a gem, and he put it on the scale, and the Gemara says that nothing was able to outweigh. Yes, thank you. Right? It was heavier than anything. He put gold and silver, and he couldn't figure out what's going on over here. And the Gemara says he went to the Chachamim, and the Chachamim said this is the eye of a human being. The eye of a human being wants and wants and wants and wants, and therefore the proof is put some little dirt on the eye, and you will see that the scale will balance. And that's what he did. And so what Shammai was telling Alexander the Great is that look at you. You have everything in your late 20s and 30s. You already were able to conquer the world, and you're still looking for new territories, more and more and more. It's never enough. Gemara, and we have to explain why Hashem made it like that. There's a famous shmuz from the Rosh Hashiva Zatzal. He quotes the Ramban when Abraham died. It says that V'yigva v'yamot Abraham passed away b'seva tova, in a good age. Zaken v'saveya, he was old and full. Saveya. And the Ramban says, what does that mean? Shura'a kol mishalot libo. He said he saw everything that his heart desires. B'saveya kol tov, meaning he was satisfied with everything good in life. V'chein savah yamin, and he's also had a very long life. And this comes to tell you, why is the Torah telling us this? Vehu sipur chazdei Hashem b'tzadikim. This is to tell you this kindness that Hashem does with the tzadikim, umidat tova behem, and the greatness of the tzadikim, the good midot that tzadikim have. Shelo yitavu b'motarot, that they do not desire. Tzadikim do not desire motarot, meaning luxuries. Not like people. The Ramban continues. Not like people who have kesef lo yisba kesef. Not like people that the more you want. Somebody showed me last week. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know, but assuming this is real, Elon Musk said that. This is what I read. I don't know if somebody can verify it. If it's true, it's pretty embarrassing. That he said that whoever said that money cannot buy happiness, you know who he was talking about. That's the line that somebody showed me. That it's a tremendous busha. Person has so much money, and he still cannot be happy. This is a modern day Haman, you know. Haman also said, right? That everything that I have children, I have wealth, I'm second to the king, everybody bows down to me, and all of that is nothing. For a person to say such a thing, it's nothing because I want that. I want what I don't have. It's craziness. Anyway, so the Ramban is saying that Abraham was a person who had the midah of being happy with what he has. He was not like the person who always wants more. So Rosh Yeshiva asks, I don't understand. Let's take into the life of Abraham. Who was Abraham? Abraham was a philosopher. He was very wise. He was famous. He taught astrology to the Egyptians. He had the most beautiful wife on earth, literally. Right? He was rich. He was powerful because he went to war with the kids. He had the son like Yitzchak. He was a prophet. Tell me anything. He had it. And so what is the Ramban saying? That if Abraham was not happy with what he had, he would have died like the one that always wants more. If I had half of what Abraham had, I would also be happy. Right? And yet this is an incredible, something that we cannot understand, but we have to sort of accept that if a person does not work on being happy with what he has, he will have everything that Abraham has and he still wants more. He will still die with only half of what he wanted, which is it's an incredible thing, because if you would ask any person, let's say 100 years ago, with everything that we have today, right, would you be happy? We have lights, all that. They used to have candles. People had toothaches, they would lose their teeth in their 30s. We go to the dentist and, right, people had, they didn't have medicines. Today, your child has strep, you just go to the pharmacy, you get some amoxicillin, and you're good. We have warm houses. If you didn't chop in the olden time, if you didn't chop enough wood, that's it, your house was cold. There's no government programs, right, in those times, right? Today, we live in such luxury, and you ask the average person, are you happy? Nah, I could be happier, with the luxuries that we have, and still people are not happy. So we have to explain how to be happy. Everybody has that line, be happy with what you have. How? Personally, for me, it was very difficult to understand that. How to be happy with what you have. Meaning to say, just to tell me the line, that's what I mean to say. Just to give me a line, be happy with what you have. How? How exactly? Right? Just take your word for it, just be happy. How do I do that? Okay, so this is so we'll start off with a few etzot. So the everything that we'll say might have been, most of the things that we'll say you probably heard. So this is an idea that we always speak about, is that our brain is much more religious than our hearts, right? Our brain knows everything, and yet we have no connection to what we know. And so therefore, the most benefit that a person will get from these words is only when a person reviews it and again until it sinks into his heart, the truth of everything that we're going to say today. So we'll start off the first thing. The Pasuk says in last week's Parashat, you should not covet the house of your friend, his wife, his donkey, his shore, everything. Kol asher lerecha. So I think I remember reading from the Kotzker. He says that the first etzah, a person, what should he say to himself? That he says that if you want something that your friend has, you have to take everything that your friend has. That means we tend to be very, I want his wisdom, I want his looks, I want his money. But there's nobody on earth that came with perfection. He has everything. Maybe Abraham, we just said. But even Abraham had a very difficult life. He was barren for 100 years. Right? He had people, he lived in the tunnels underneath, right? Because Nimrod wanted to kill him. He didn't have an easy life. Nobody has it perfect. And therefore we have to accept that if you want what your friend has, you got to take the whole package. And we will very easily see that you don't want his package. And the reason why I heard from my Rabbi, you want his package because the tools that Hashem gave you, the package that Hashem gave you for your life, He also gave you the tools for it. So therefore, the reason why you're happy with what you have is because you learned how to deal with it. You learned how to deal with your own circumstances. because you were given those tools. If you would have somebody else's wealth or his looks or his talents, you would have you would not be able to deal with that because of the challenges that he was given in his life. Another Eitzah. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, it's also in Chulin, it says that when a person was born, before he was born, Hashem, the pasuk says that everything was created bidaitam v'tzivyonam. He said that Hashem showed them exactly the person that he's going to be created. And before he brought him to this world, he asked them, "Are you happy with the way you're made?" Before a person is born into this world, he approves. He says, "Yes, this is how I want to be built." That means that every detail of your life, the parents that you had, the wife that you have, the amount of money, how healthy, how wise, how foolish, how skinny, how tall, how many kids, everything was approved. And because everything was very, very clear in Shamayim, so you accepted it. So then what is the point of being jealous? That is not what you chose. You chose this life, the life that you have. So therefore, a person has to accept that this is the life that you were given. Again, we have to point out, this doesn't mean that a person should not strive and use his talents. We're talking about, he wants things like wings. Like he wants to be Superman. He wants to fly. He's something beyond his reality. That's not who you are. That's not who you were created. So therefore, of course, within the talents that a person was given, of course he has to develop those talents. Of course, absolutely, right? And a person is not supposed to be lazy, right? But we're talking about over here that it's an unrealistic view of who he is and his station and what he was given. So therefore, that's what we're talking about. And jealousy is jealousy is a distortion of what a person's reality is, and that's what we everything that we're saying today is that. The Torah Mincha was written by the Talmid of the Rashba, and he writes in Parashat Matot Maseh. He brings down like this. He talks about, here I'll just read you. Here, what I just said before. When the nefesh hasichlit mishtachah lavo litkashe bechomer, when the neshama is brought into this world, put into a body, they ask him, shitivchar la haderech shitachpotz. He says more than what I said. He said that the neshama is asked, how do you want to be created? In what circumstances does a person want to be created? Which means among the souls that are asked, yesh mehem, some of them choose to be tzaddik ve'ashir. He wants to be a tzaddik. It's like that guy that everything seems to be perfect. He's rich and he's wise. And he has this tendency that he likes davening and he likes learning. Everything seems to be going well. It's like almost like he doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. Right? So that's because a person he chose to be like this. And therefore, such a person who seemingly has it perfect over here, right? He has the least amount of reward. Because his life test is just to remain that way. To remain a tzaddik despite the fact that he's rich. And therefore, a person, that's one type of person. Another, and that's what we call tzaddik v'tovlo. Tzaddik v'tovlo means that's the nefesh, that's the soul that the soul chose this type of life. So therefore, Hashem made it. That he was born to a certain mazal. He was born at a certain time, and therefore it allowed him the circumstance. He was born with a better brain. Maybe he's very, street smart. He's very savvy. He's very social. He makes connections, and he thinks it's me. I did this. It's not you. You were born with these talents to make you rich, to give you that closeness that it's easy for you to connect to ruchniut, to spirituality, and therefore the test of this person is to remain a tzaddik. There's another person. Another person, he says that I want to be rich, but I want to be a rasha. The test will be that despite the fact that I'm rich, but because he was born with a tendency to evil, so his test will be to grow out of that. So that's why you'll have people that are very rich, and yet they're far away from the Torah because they chose their test. That's the test that they chose. And there's another person, tzaddik v'ralo. He's a tzaddik. He has a tendency. He wants to be close to Hashem. He wants to learn. He wants to daven. He wants to connect, and yet he's poor. And then there's the fourth one who gets the most reward. He chose, I want everything bad. Rasha v'ralo. Meaning, he has a tendency, a personality that he's very difficult for him to connect. He doesn't want to connect. It's very, very difficult. And on top of that, he's very poor. Of course, we just gave 4, but obviously you have to say that there's everything in between. These are just 4 categories, but there's everything in between. So therefore, the idea of this Eitzah is not to be jealous, because it's nothing to do with being rich or poor. It's just the nisayon of being rich, the nisayon of being poor. It's just a different type of test. So therefore, there's no reason to be jealous, because that's just your test that you have to. That's the reality that you were given. And that's what you chose. So then, what are you jealous about? That the life that you chose. Included in this is that this is the stipler. I don't have it in front of me. The stipler says that the amount of pain and suffering that a person will experience in his life was already predestined. That means that a person often thinks that, oh, if I only would have this promotion, if I only made more money, if I only had his wisdom, then life will be so much easier, no? And the answer is no, it's absolutely wrong. It's not true. Because the measure of pain and pleasure is already given out before you were born. So therefore, if you did not have to deal with parnasa problems, you'll deal with health problems. And if not health, with children. And if not children, with shalom bayit. And if not shalom bayit, something else. There's always something. So the person thinks that if I only would make more money, then everything will be simple. No. It would just, the test will be somewhere else. There's no Adam le'amal yulad. A person who was born to work. And work means to stand trial. So this, this American type of view, retire at 40. There's no such thing according to the Torah. Because you retire, fine, your money will not be an issue for you. But there'll be other things. There'll be other things to test you, to shake up your equilibrium. So therefore a person absolutely needs to accept that no matter what, you'll be tested. So, just pick your poison. But that's the way it is. You have to, you must accept that life is a nisayon. I remember when I was young, there's different versions of who it happened with, but the version I heard was Benyamin ben Yehoyada. Benyamin ben Yehoyada was a general by Shlomo HaMelech, and he pestered Shlomo HaMelech to teach him the way of the language of the animals. One time it says over here that he found him in a good mood, and he asked him, "No, teach me." So he said to him, "It's not good for you." So he said, "No, teach me." He pushed him and he taught him. And then one night he hears the chatul, meaning the cat, crying that today there's going to be a fire. And right away he gets the pails of water, the fireman, right? He prepares, and indeed there was a fire, and he was able to, to prevent this terrible thing. Then the next night he hears the goose cry. He says, "Today I heard in Shamayim that the ganavim are going to come, thieves." And again, he prevents it. The third night he hears the dog cry. And now the dog is saying that the son is going to be taken away. The Malach HaMavet is coming tonight. Now what can he do against the angel of death? So he runs in panic to Shlomo HaMelech. And Shlomo HaMelech says, I told you not to desire what you don't need. Right? And therefore Hashem, there was a decree on your son, Chas v'shalom lo aleinu, right? And therefore they said that maybe we should take away his wealth. But 2 times you prevented it. Okay, fine. So 2 times you prevented. So we have to do the original. We tried plan A, plan B, but you decided plan C is what you want, right? So therefore this is another Eitzah. The other Eitzah is not to be jealous because you have no idea what is good for you. You think that if you would know more, you would have more, things would be better. How do you know? How do you know? We human beings are very short-sighted. We see like in a year or two, maybe, But if somebody would tell you in 20 years, in 30 years, what your life would look like because of this decision, because of what you want more, right? You would regret it. You would not want such a thing. So therefore, this is again another truth that a person has to accept, that it's you're very short-sighted. So the best thing is to be humble, to not want to what doesn't belong to you. One eitzah that works for me is, I call it ein ledavar sof. This is a very simple psychological thing, right? If we are jealous of somebody, you would ask yourself, I wish I would be Rav Moshe Feinstein. His clarity in learning, his memory, his gadlut, that would be so amazing. I would be such a happier person. And then you would ask, wait one second, but why the Vilna Gaon? Why Rav Moshe? What about Rabbi Yisrael Salanter? He was much greater than Rav Moshe. Right? And he says, you're right. Yeah, I want to be Rabbi Yisrael. Why Rabbi Yisrael? What about the Vilna Gaon? Generation or two above, right? Says, you're right, the Vilna Gaon. Yeah, I heard amazing stories about him. And then you go, but Rav Chaim Mivolozhin said that he was like, maybe, you could say like the Rashba. The Vilna Gaon. So, you're right, I want to be the Rashba. And he says, no, but the Rashba was just the lower of the Rishonim. Like Rashi, he was nothing like Rashi. Rashi, yeah, I want to be Rashi. And you go up, and then there's the Amoraim, and the Tanaim, and the Anshnei Knesset Gdolah, and the Nevi'im, and there's different classes of Nevi'im, and then there's Moshe Rabbeinu, there's angels, and above that, so what do you want exactly? What you want, why should you be satisfied, whatever, just because you just made up a level that you want, why should you be happy then? You're making 200,000, you want 400,000. Well, why would you be happy with 400? If you give it a few days, you'll want 800. And going up and up and up. And you'll never, and it applies to everything. Wisdom, money, everything that you want. After you have all that, I want my kids. And after your kids, I want kavod. And this is never ending. So therefore, you come to the point of realizing that since I can't have the best, you only have yourself. That's it. And your life is your life. Because there's nothing else. You'll never reach the top. Because there's always above you something more. The Gemara, it's a famous Gemara Nidarim. Gemara Nidarim discusses the following case. There was a person, a would-be adulterer. He's in a room with another man's wife, and all of a sudden, the husband comes home. So this guy hides, and he's hiding until the husband, goes away. And he notices that the husband is sitting down to eat I think the Gemara says like some type of mushrooms. So he sits down, and before this husband eats the mushrooms, before the husband came, the mushrooms was touched by a snake. There's poison in the mushrooms. So before the husband is able to eat, the adulterer, quote unquote, he comes out of hiding and he saves the husband. He says, don't eat it, it's poison inside. The Gemara has a diyun, right? Did something happen in the room or not? Two ways of looking at it, right? One way of looking at it is that if he indeed did something, right, he would allow the husband to eat from the mushrooms and die. Because he won't be able to face the husband, he would want the husband to die. That's one way of looking at it. The other way is that, before the other way. So the Gemara says that actually, that is the way we look at it. If the person really did do something, he would allow the husband to die. But because he saved the husband, must be, he didn't do anything, and the wife is permissible. She's permitted to her husband. The Gemara says, Pshita. This is simple. It's obvious. Like, what are you teaching me here? So the Gemara says it's not so simple. Because there's a counter argument. The Gemara says the counter argument might be that no, maybe he really did do something with his person's wife, but he wants her to be married. He wants her to be. And that means that he saved the husband's life so she can continue being married, and then it's more exciting. Mayim gnivum yimtako, meaning that stolen waters is sweet. It's sweet. So the Gemara, that's what the Gemara says. So that's the Havamina. The Havamina was maybe he really did do something, and therefore the wife is prohibited. Kamash Malan, the Gemara answers no. No, we say that since he saved the husband, must be he didn't do anything. Comes the Rishonim and said, well, why don't we say like the Havamina? Well, there's two ways of looking at it. Why don't we say like the Havamina? So I think it was the Rosh who says the reason why we don't say this is because the guy doesn't know it. The guy doesn't know. What does that mean? It means that the Rav Dessler says that this is one of the greatest secrets of pleasure that is hidden from people. That it's not the pleasure. The guy thinks it's this woman, but that's not the truth. The truth is that it's not the woman at all. It's the fact that it's forbidden. It's the fact that there's a Yetzer Hara that tells him, this is asur, this is so sweet. It's not the actual woman that gives you the pleasure. It's the chase. But the guy doesn't know it. So this is another eitzah of how to deal with jealousy. To realize that the reason why you want it is because you don't have it yet. Because if you would have it, you would not enjoy it. The enjoyment is the fact that you're looking forward to something, that you want it, and therefore it gives you the pleasure when you get it. But as soon as you have it, you won't enjoy it anymore because the chase is not there. And the proof to that is that very rich people are extremely bored. They really are bored. They're very, very bored. And the reason is because they don't have the chase anymore. So instead of being jealous of the rich guy, you have to realize that you enjoy the steak more than the rich guy. Because since you can't afford necessarily the steak all the time, right? So therefore, when you get that steak, you enjoy it more. But if you were very rich and steaks would not be a big deal for you, or very nice cars would not be a big deal for you, right? You would not enjoy it because you will be on to the next thing. And there is no next thing. Because how many steaks can you eat already? This restaurant, at the end of the day, the rich people are very, very bored, right? This hotel and that hotel, Rav Dessler says, vacations is self-imposed exile. People think that going on vacation is, it's so great. It's so amazing. Rav Dessler says that it's imposed exile. Why would you do that to yourself? But people don't view it like that. They view it pleasureful, right? The Ramban says that when a person, there's a Ramban Bamidbar over there, that the Jews were so full in the Midbar that they wanted things like that don't naturally taste good, and they desired things that don't taste good to taste good. That's the nature of a person. When he overindulges, they develop tastes that are naturally, there's nothing there. But I want to have a tava, I want to feel a temptation, because it's so boring already that I want to feel something. And that's a terrible thing. Yeah.
But doesn't say that going to vacation is something from Megda?
That's what he says, yeah.
Why?
Because when a person is stable, he has minuchat nefesh. Running around from place to place is exile. And the proof is, a person just came, I just a few weeks ago from winter, somebody came, there's nothing like home. So why did you go? Instead, you go to places where it's like a third world country. But it's enjoyable over there. Why is it better than where you live? You live in in America. You go somewhere, third country, that there's no paved roads, no medicine, right? Not enough food. I'm so enjoying it because there's clear waters. Okay, fine. That's exile. That's not the same. We don't believe in this because we're very mushpa, meaning we're very influenced by the culture. Another itzah, I heard this from my Rabbi Harris in Yeshiva. He says that I was just connected to Alexander the Great, right? Was giving this eyeball. The Chachamim said you should put a little dust on it. And you'll see. So what were they trying to, you could say, what they were trying to say is you got to cover your eyes. And this I heard from Rabbi Harris, that don't overexpose yourself. He says people think that, I can take it, I can look and not desire. I can look and not want. But when a person overexposes, especially, women, there's these shows nowadays, I'm not going to say which one, but very religious people, and they show their life and their houses, and their, there's music in the background, and everything is, picture perfect. And religious people see this all the time. how beautiful, quote unquote, life is over there, right? And he says like, what am I doing wrong? Everybody seems to be like advancing and going to bigger and better things. And I'm just stuck over here. I have to be doing something wrong. And she goes to complain to her husband, right? And then the husband has to deal with the damage, with the overexposure. As opposed to, she was just as happy right before. She was just, complimenting, Baruch Hashem, she was saying, right until she saw that show. What happened? The answer is because you overexpose yourself. When you overexpose yourself, what do you think is going to happen? You have the kochot that I can deal with the jealousy. I have emunah. Better is to not to overexpose yourself. There's no mitzvah to look at how other people are living. There's no mitzvah like that, right? So therefore, when a person covers his eyes and he's humble, right, that will be better for him. It will be like curiosity, right? Ignorance is bliss. You can apply it over here. I don't know anything better, so I'm happy. Well, what's the difference? No, I have to overexpose myself and then somehow overcome that. To find something, I'm looking, but I'm sure they have a very bad life somewhere in there. So therefore, it calms me down. Like the crookedness of how we think. We have to find something wrong in their life in order to say that I have it good. Don't look. Why do you have to look? Alexander, in that same Gemara that we quoted, Alexander the Great, he comes to a town like some in Africa, some city, and the Gemara says that it was full of women. I'm skipping the back and forth over there. Anyway, he sat down, he decided not to conquer the city. He sits down and he says, bring me bread. So they brought him a gold bread. So he says, what gold bread? I can't eat gold bread. Give me something I could eat. So they said that, well, we thought that you made it all the way here. You probably wanted something special. Something that you don't have where you come from. So we decided to give you golden bread. So the Gemara says that he was stumped, meaning he was disproven, so to speak. He was proven katipesh. He himself admitted this. Why? Because you're traveling all the way there, right? For what? For something that you have here. It's the same bread. We can use this for the vacations, a person has a beautiful house, literally. He lives in a hotel, and yet he's flying around the world to see something that he has already at home. It's the same lights, it's the same beauty in your house. The same bread and the same, right? The basic things that the average person has. The basics are big, big things. The fact that a person can eat, the fact that he has lights, he has a warm home, he has wife, he has kids. The basic thing that an average person has are amazing. But a person runs around it's like Alexander. He's looking for, what, you're looking for gold bread? It's the same thing. At the end of the day, you're going to come and you're going to look for food, right? And you're going to sit down in a restaurant and eat the same steak that you can have here. No, but he has to spend thousands of dollars to say that, I was around the world. It's the same thing. Therefore, a person should never be jealous, because the same thing that is here is over there. There's nothing. The same pleasure that you're feeling is over there, is over here, and therefore that's another itzah. It's very, very important. The basic things that a person enjoys: the lights, the heat, his teeth, the fact that he's married. These are the most wonderful things, and more than that, a person doesn't need. Again, we have to live, we have to work, we have to bring parnasah home. But I'm talking about like that bitterness. Why can't I have more? That there's no place for that, because the same things that you have is everywhere. Another itzah is, I read this, Samech Bichalko, he says, we started how is a person being happy with what he has? And the answer is to realize that the little that you have is enough. It's a nuance of a right? It's not like, how can I be happy with a little bit? That little bit is enough. I remember before I was even dating, I heard in yeshiva from Rabbi Harris, he said that single guys think that they need a number 10 to be happy. You don't need a number 10. Much lower, you'll be happy. There's the same idea. He says that person thinks that it's like going to, you're going shopping because when you're really, really hungry, right? So you think that you're going to eat the whole world. It's not true. Eat a slice of bread, one slice, then go shopping. You'll see that you'll buy much less. Because there's not so much that you need. When a person realizes that there's not that much that you need, you'll be happy. A person thinks that, I need a lot to be happy. You don't need a lot. You'll be happy with very little. Yeah.
Going back to what you just said about having chosen your portion in life and the way you were going to be.
Yeah.
So why is the ultimate sovereign justified? If I didn't choose to be a big Talmud Chacham when I was given the choice, why am I allowed to be jealous of somebody greater than I am?
So I think there's 2 points. Number one is that it is actually not the highest level to motivate yourself. Question, I guess he's asking that there's a concept of kinat sofrim, that you're jealous of the Talmid Chacham, and that pushes you, that motivates you. If he did it, he finished Masechta, I also want to finish Masechta. So it's like a good jealousy. So he's asking that if that was not your portion, so then don't be jealous. So the answer is that it's actually absolutely true. There's no reason to be jealous of, I want to be like the Vilna Gaon. There is no like that. But so when we use that, because that's just not, we're not giving the brains, then you will never have his brains, and that's not your goal, and therefore, don't live in illusion. You will never be like him. So therefore, a person has to only want what he is. So therefore, kinat sofrim should only be used to develop your own talents, your own potential, not to be used like to, I'm going to be Rav Moshe. If I work really, really, really hard and I don't sleep at all, I'll be Rav Moshe. You'll never be like Rav Moshe, and therefore there's no reason to be jealous of him, only except to be to motivate you to reach what you can accomplish. There's a in Pirkei Avot, right in the beginning, it says, right, we know all this, right? Ezeu Ashir, who is the rich man? Hasameach bechelko. So Rabbi Yonah says, what do you do? What do you do? So he says something very nice. He says, Daili bechelki. It's enough for me, my portion. Shani yachol lifarnes et atzmi la'asok b'Torah, that I'm able to support myself and learn Torah. Umali l'malchanchen. Why do I have to need somebody else's money? This is the person, what this person should strive for. If you're paying your bills, you're able to pay it for tuition, you're paying your bills, and you're able to learn Torah and serve Hashem, what more do you need in life? What is life about for you? So I'm not saying, if a person chas v'shalom cannot pay tuition, cannot put food on the table, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the average person that could afford these things. You should realize that this is the ikar, this is the main thing that you're here. If a person is able to support his family, he goes to work, he supports his studies, he pays tuition, he learns at night, learns in the morning, why should you be upset? This is a beautiful portion. You're able to learn Torah. Hashem gave you that time, gave you the ability to learn Torah. You're able to pay your bills. What more do you need? This is the right hashkafa. More and more for what? And this gets into, this is a big topic, but there's not so much time I'm going to spend on it. It's a big topic. But the best way to deal with jealousy is to build an inner world. An inner world means that it's a world outside people. It's a world where you and yourself, you and your thoughts. When your mind is occupied with brilliant and hundreds of ideas, Torah truths that occupy your mind, there's nothing more than that needs to be filled, because you are full yourself. If a person's brain is empty, there's nothing going on in his head. There's no ideas. There's no truths of the Torah, right? So then he's going to need some type of entertainment. He's bored. He needs to fill himself. He's empty. So the way to deal with jealousy is to become productive. Meaning to say, be productive with your mind. Learn more. Fill your mind with God. I'm not saying only Gemara, but fill anything, read anything that will fill your mind with Torah truth, whatever you connect to. When a person's mind is full of truths, there's no room for jealousy or any other tava, because he's full, he's happy, and it's a big work. It's not easy to build that inner world, but it's something that a person can build his inner world. There's nothing like it. It's an amazing thing. I want to finish off with just the Stipler in Chai Olam. and that is, he says that he has a piece over here in Perek Daled. Lama lo yistapek adam b'hisagav v'itave yuter. Why is a person not satisfied with what he reached and he wants more? And in just a very quick, in a nutshell, he says that the reason why Hashem gave you that desire, I want more, is for you to channel that into ruchniyut. To never be happy again, meaning never to be satisfied with what level you are. Again, in a healthy way. That means that if a person has the ability to learn 2 mesechtot, right, and he only learns 1, Hashem said, I wanted you not to be satisfied with 1. I want you to be satisfied with 2. And if you could do 3, do 3. Never end that desire, as opposed to a person who's complacent, who has no ambition. So Hashem wants to know, I want you to always be hungry, so you can push yourself to further growth. Because that's eternity. Whatever you're building, whatever you're learning, whatever mitzvah you do, you're building eternity. So a person gave a person that tremendous desire never to stop growing, but if he channels it to Olam Hazeh, it'll never be full. The person has to channel it to Olam Haba. That's it, we'll pause over here. Hazaku Baruch.